Hi everyone, Petrik here. Today's video will be about all the books that I want to read in the month of May. And this month, I plan to read about 7 or 8 books. It depends on how you look at it. You will understand why later in this video. I used to be able to read more than 10 books per month, but now I don't think I can do that anymore. My life is getting busier by the day, and I don't think I can read more than 8 books per month now. Seriously, the past 2 weeks has been incredibly busy for me. My Patreons know about this, but I'm glad I was able to still finish 2 books within that period of time. And for this month, I do want to read about 7 or 8 books. And somehow, by coincidence, I totally didn't plan this. In the month of April, it turns out that almost all the books that I read in the month of April is the first book of a new series. And that means that I'm caught in more ongoing series more than ever now. And to counter that, almost all the books that I read in the month of May will be sequels. Only one book is not a sequel. And the first book that I want to read in the month of May is Priest of Gallows by Peter McLean. This is the 3rd book in War for the Rose Throne series, a grimdark fantasy series that I have been thoroughly enjoying. It is one of my favorite ongoing series right now, and it is frankly insane to me that somehow this series apparently was on the brink of cancellation after the 2nd book. That is insane. Seriously, I would have been emotionally distraught if that happened, because as I said, this is one of my ongoing series right now, and from my observation, the series supposedly have a lot of great sales and reception, and probably the sales of the series wasn't enough for the US market, because if I'm not mistaken, the third book, this one, Priest of Gallows, and the next book won't get a paperback release on US. It is seriously unfortunate because I think Peter McLean is doing something truly incredible with Thomas Petty. Thomas Petty is the main character of the series, and the voices that the author gave to this character is so distinctive. It truly felt to me like Thomas is narrating his story to us, the readers. And maybe the author is just the messenger. And by the way, if you follow me on Twitter, you might have seen me mentioning this. My co-blogger has actually read Priest of Gallows, and she showed to me that apparently I'm included in the book to be killed off. I think this is the first time this has happened, and I just want to say thank you so much to Peter McLean for doing this. It's truly an honor. It's truly an honor for me to be included in one of my favorite ongoing series right now, and to be killed off so brutally. That's something that I will always remember. I have actually started Priest of Gallows by the time I'm recording this video, and I must say that it has been super engaging already. Seriously, if you haven't read this series, if you love Peaky Blinders, if you love gangster fantasy, try this one. If you love grimdark fantasy, please give this series a try. It is so good, and I think it is very underrated right now. The 2nd book that I want to read in the month of May is Master Artificer by Justin Cole. This is the 2nd book in the Silent God series. I just finished the 1st book, Master of Sorrows, last month, and I think it's a great book. It's a great debut. And if you love coming of age fantasy, if you love magic school, if you love classic fantasy with a modern narrative, you should give this series a try. I don't think this is a spoiler because the author has talked about this so many times throughout his social media, but the Silent Gods Quartet will supposedly centers around Anef the Bread, the main character. It will centers around his transformation into a Dark Lord. And let me tell you something, if you don't know about Silent Gods, this is a very ambitious series. Not the Silent Gods itself, but the author has said that he wants to make this a 12-book series of 3 parts. So in total, there will be a 3 series of 4 books. So if you haven't read this series and you think that this sounds interesting, please give this series a try. I've heard from my co-blogger TS that the 2nd book is darker than the 1st book, and the world building is so much more impressive and intricate. I'm looking forward to reading this one. Then the next 3 or 4 books that I want to read, I want to try to binge read this one. It is the Riff War Saga by Raymond E. Weiss. Yes, I haven't read this series. I know that this is a classic fantasy series that's beloved by a lot of people. I know that a lot of fantasy readers found their love for reading fantasy through this series, and I think that's a really good thing. Something that sparks your love for reading something is always a good thing, and I'm looking forward to reading this one. And if you're like me and you haven't started this series, this is the synopsis of the 1st book. The world had changed even before I discovered the foreign ship wrecked on the shore below Crydy Castle, but it was the harbinger of the chaos and death that was coming to our door. War had come to the kingdom of the Isle, and in the year that followed it would scatter my friend across the world. I longed to train as a warrior and fight alongside our duke like my foster brother, but when the time came, I was not offered that choice. My fate would be shaped by other forces. My name is Puck. I was once an orphaned kitchen boy, with no family and no prospects, but I am destined to become a master magician. I did hear from several readers that it might be a bit outdated for me right now, but I'm still going to try reading this series because Riff War Saga and the next trilogy in the Riff War cycle, Riff War Empire trilogy, it is written by Raymond E. Weiss and Jenny Wirtz. Both of them are in my list of priority series to start and finish within this year. So really keeping my fingers crossed that I will love them. Then the next book that I want to read in the month of May is my monthly read. It is the 6th book in the Last Kingdom series. It is called The Death of Kings by Bernard Cornwell. I have been enjoying reading this series monthly. It has somehow become a comfort read for me because it's good. It's good to be back in the head of Utrecht. And yesterday, I heard that the 5th season of the TV show will mark the conclusion of the TV series. So that means book 11 until book 13 won't get adapted. Probably because, if I'm not mistaken, the 5th season will cover book 9 and book 10. There are 13 books in the series. I will attach the link to the article in the description, but this is what the article mainly says. I love this job, series star Alexander Draymond said. Playing Utrecht for 5 seasons has been a wonderful journey, and I'm truly grateful to have been given the opportunity to direct. In doing so, I came to fully appreciate the spectacular talent and skill of our cast and crew even more. I cannot wait to share it with our fans, without whom none of this would be possible. Based on the 9th and 10th books of Bernard Cornwell's best-selling novel series The Saxon Stories, the 5th season will see Utrecht, portrayed by Alexander Draymond, realize his destiny is more than just Bebbanburg. It is tied to the future of England itself. It is such a shame because the TV show is amazing. But, well, you know what? I guess that's more reason why I have to read the books now. The tale of Utrecht, son of Utrecht, son of Utrecht, son of Utrecht have to be witnessed to its conclusion. But then the final book that I want to read in the month of May is The Broken God. This is the 3rd book in the Black Iron Legacy by Gareth Hanrahan. The first book in this series, The God of Prayer, is one of my favorite debuts of all time. The second book, The Shadow Saint, was also magnificent. There is something that's truly amazing about this series. It is Gareth Hanrahan's imagination. This is one of the most inventive and original high fantasy series that I've read. It is so good. This was originally planned as a trilogy, but I think the author has said that this will become a 5-book series now. And what does this mean for me? Well, the more the merrier. As long that the author can keep on executing great narrative and story, just keep them coming for me. Also, there is one more book that I want to read within this month, for sure. I just got it today and I have to record this into this video. The book that I'm talking about is Dark Seas and by Richard Nell. Yes, that Richard Nell, the author behind Ash and Sand trilogy, the best self-published fantasy series I've read so far. Dark Seas End is the first book in Beyond Ash and Sand series, and it takes place after what happened at Kings of Heaven, the final book in Ash and Sand trilogy. But it also takes place before the epilogue of Kings of Heaven. The cover art is not ready yet and it still needs the typography. However, I've seen the cover art itself and it is gorgeous. Yes, I will be doing the cover reveal to this book. For now, let me just tell you that I am incredibly excited about reading this book. If you've read Ash and Sand trilogy, you'll probably know what this book will be about. The author has said that this is the beginning of a new series and is accessible to new readers. But as always, if you've read the main series, I'm sure that your reading experience of this book will be enhanced. Besides, if you haven't read Ash and Sand trilogy, please do it now. It is amazing. Yeah, that's all the books that I want to read in the month of May. Do you spot anything interesting here? And if you've read something in my May TBR, please let me know what you think of them. For example, Riff War Saga. I know that a lot of you probably have read this series. Please let me know what you think of it. And yeah, I think that's all from me today. As always, thank you so much for your support and thank you for watching. I hope you have a lovely day. And yeah, until the next video. Bye bye.